Well, it's a very good Friday evening to you all. Thank you all for joining me on the West Ham Weekly. No, it's not. That's on a Monday night. Thank you all for joining on the Friday late. Much appreciated. I said I'm going to talk about the squad and the transfer window and how well we think we did in this window, because it's been quite exciting, hasn't it? It's been something that I don't think many West Ham fan in the right frame of mind would have thought we would have ever done. Buying so many players, spending so much money, buying a few players that one would never have thought that we would have even been able to get. So it's been quite exciting, hasn't it? So I'm going to go through them, but first of all, let's remind ourselves who left the squad at the end of last season. A squad that already were two or three players down, according to Mark Noble and according to most of us as well. David Martin, look, let's be honest. David Martin didn't really make the senior squad. He was part of it, but he wasn't really in it, was he? Ryan Fredericks, so we knew we needed someone at right back. We lost to Fulham for around £15 million. Ajibola Relay feel sad that he went, to be quite honest with you, for a nominal fee to Sunderland. We've sent dear old Arthur out to Besiktas, and I still can't say it correctly. And then, of course, Mark Noble retired. Alex Kral, the strangest West Ham transfer for quite a while, has also gone. And of course, Andrei Yarmolenko has moved on, and so has Nikola Vlasic on loan to Torino. So judging by that, we needed 9 players. And plus, we already short by a couple of players. So we needed 11 players if we want to be really pedantic. But let's go through those players for a minute, shall we? Because David Martin, I already said, he wasn't really part of the squad. So that's not 11 players. That's 10 players. And then Ajibola Relay, poor guy, was just filling in the numbers, I would guess. So that's 9 players. And then, of course, Alex Kral, the odd signing, 8 players. So we needed at least 8 players. Now, I predicted that we were going to get 6. And if we'd got that many, then I think we would have been laughing. Well, we got more than 6, and we got more than our fair share, didn't we? And let's look at our squad at the moment, because it's looking quite healthy. We got 3 goalies. We did anyway. Areola was there this last season, and now he's back on a permanent basis, which is really good to see. We got 3 right backs. Yes, I am including the youngster there. I think Harrison Ashby should be included, and I'm going to talk about him when I go through the players in a little bit more detail. And then, of course, we got Emerson as a left back, left wing back, whatever you want to call it. He's coming. And now we centre backs. We've all heard the stories about Craig Dawson and how he really wanted to leave, and more because of family situation rather than the desire to leave West Ham United. But we got 5 centre backs there, with Kehrer and Agerd arriving throughout the summer. And then in central midfield, I guess we know Moyes really wanted another midfielder there, a central holding midfielder. And I guess that's why he was really trying to gun for Onana. And really willing to spend quite big money on him. I think that was a bit of a disappointment for Moyes not getting him, but maybe that's why Connor Coventry has stayed at the club, and hopefully he can actually prove himself to be a first-team player throughout this season. We've heard what Moyes has said about Flynn Downs, about he's not quite ready yet, expecting more from him. But the guy's got a whole season. There was talk on the last day of the transfer window that he might have been sent out on loan, which I found a little bit odd. But I'm quite glad that he stayed. So between him and Connor Coventry, they've got a season ahead of them that they can prove themselves in. And then we go to, I forgot to put a star on Paqueta. And then we go to the attacking midfielders. And we've got quite an array, haven't we? Fornals, of course, and Lanzini. Cornet's come in. Bowen is there. Benrahma. All that rumour about Benrahma leaving this summer. And that didn't materialise, which is good. And of course, Paqueta, we got in. The £38 million, whatever it is, plus add-ons comes to around £50 million. And then the player that we wanted, or a player that we wanted for so long, of course, is a striker. And we got Scamacca in throughout the summer as well. So let's have a look at the positions that they're playing in. So I've got on one side the players that have left, and I've got the other side the players that we bought. And so what I've put in, I put in there the players' fees without the add-ons, because I keep being told you can't include add-ons. So okay, I'm not including add-ons. So we've got 3 keepers healthy. We've got 3 players who can play on the right side of defense, healthy again. On the left side, we now have competition. We now have backup, whatever you want to call it, for Cresswell. We've got 5 central defenders, which is fantastic. And also, Kehrer can also play at right back as well. We've got the 4 central holding defenders. Would you say we're a little bit light there? Maybe. People might say yes, a little bit light, unfortunately. But let's see, like I said a moment ago, let's see what Flynn Downs and let's see what Connor Coventry can deliver to West Ham United this season. And then in attacking midfield, as I've already said, we've got the 5 players, they've got the 6 players there as well. And then up front, we're well stocked. We've actually got a 25-man squad at the moment. You could no longer call Connor Coventry an academy player. He's 22 years of age. Harrison Ashby, okay, maybe, but nonetheless, he's proving himself good enough to stay in this first team. And I for one, and I'm sure many of us are quite glad that we haven't got rid of him. Well, not got rid of him. I know he kind of wanted to go. He for whatever reason it may be, not a good contract, or he thought he'd get more game time elsewhere, etc. Now David Moyes has got to show trust in this young player, and he's also got to start him. So before I go into the detail of each player, let's go and say hello to who's in the chat. Good evening, Pat. How are you? Best in the best tradition of internet first. Well done. Good evening to you, Paul. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. Learn to dig. I hope you're well. 60% of West Ham fans said we wouldn't spend 100 million. We spend 180 million, and they complained that we didn't get a central defensive midfielder. Well, I, for one, am not going to complain about it. As I've just said, we've got 2 young players that can definitely show their worth. Good evening, Darren. Thank you for joining, mate. Mr. Bartlett, how are you? I keep calling you Bartlett. Why? I do apologize, Martin. I hope you're well. Good evening, Andrew. I'm more than happy with our spending. Pre-season games were not great, nor was the start of the seasons. Things changed against Viborg. The Spurs game was buzzing. Can't wait for Chelsea. I'll be there tomorrow. And from what I gather, there's going to be quite a lot of teams in London tomorrow. Leeds are here and Millwall are playing at home. I know that. I think they're playing somewhere in London, etc. It's going to be a bit tasty going around. So no colours tomorrow. I'm sorry, Darren. On time? I think I was on time on the ESO, mate. I can't stand it. It's disgusting. Patrick, no mods in the house. Quick, push something over, break a window. Good evening, Chris. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Good evening, John. Music for a Friday night. It sure is that, the calm, etc. And that's what this show's about, a bit of calm. Good evening to you, Daniela. I hope you're well. Good evening, Adam. Evening, Stella. I hope you're well. I'm very well. Thank you very much. And by the way, thank you all for the 2,000 subscriptions. I mentioned it in the I did a preview earlier. Really messed it up, and I'll mention that in a minute. Really, actually messed up the preview. But I thank you guys. I'm on 2,000 subscribers, and that is incredible. Really, I really do appreciate it. Howard, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening, Serif. Galispera, diganis. Hola, gala. I hope you're well, mate. Who else have we got in the chat? Darren, if we had got ample cover for Rice and Souček, I would have given the window a 10 out of 10. That's harsh. What about, come on, I want to know your views, Darren, about Flynn Downs and about Connor Coventry. Do you think they may be able to offer something this season rather than having to go out and buy a £30 million player? Stuck, not Stew. Good evening to you. Stew, not Stew. Stew, not Stew. Wondered where you've gone. Only found this because of last night on Hammer. And many thanks to Hammer's chat last night, by the way. I was on there. I had a few problems yesterday, a few personal things I had to see to, which is why I couldn't do the transfer window show. I was going to do the last hour. But fair play to Hammer's chat. They said, come on for 10 minutes if you can. And I found 10 minutes in between what I was doing. And I'm really grateful. So, Stu, I'm really glad that you found me through them. Really, really happy about that. Thank you, mate. James, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Learn to dig. The 8 departed players made 70 plus appearances. Not a lot, is it, mate? I mean, you could see why they had to go. I mean, with the greatest of respect to them, let's go back to them. I mean, David Martin, he had one senior appearance, and that was, I think, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago. Fredericks, always injured, unfortunately. Is a Diop. His career started well at West Ham, I won't lie, and I still had great hopes for him, and I was disappointed that he didn't make it. And I wish him well, but not when we're playing Fulham. The young lads, Ashby Relay, say, shame, to be quite honest with you. I actually thought he might have been a player that might have broken through. Arthur Masuaku, well, no need to say, you know what I think about Arthur. Dear old Arthur. Mark Noble retiring anyway. Alex Krall, like I said, the strangest signing, only getting, a handful of minutes here and there. Very, very odd. Yarmolenko, we loved him for what he did in the last season, but, at his age, etc., and the salary, obviously he needed to move on as well. And isn't it strange that Likan Vlasic has found his scoring boots now that he was in Torino, but it just wasn't happening for him at West Ham United. So I guess I don't think anyone would argue that those players had to leave West Ham for one reason or another. Good evening, Dynamite. How good would a win be at Stamford Bridge? I'll let you know tomorrow evening when we've won. Good evening, Graham. I hope you're well, mate. Have you bought... I was on time. I was on time, wasn't I, mate? David, good evening to you, mate. Magnificent transfer window for me. Kehrer, Scamacca, Paqueta, really top draw, and all our signings. But Moyes has to play them. And that's what I'm going to kind of talk about. Who's going to fare well, who's going to not fare well, but who's going to do well, and who might be a casualty of the new signings coming in. Good evening to you, Lee. Thank you for joining. Steve WHU, hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining as well. Paul, players who want to play for us, which makes a difference. Look, I know we all got upset about certain players, getting really angry. We're not getting this player. We're waiting too long and we haven't got that player. They've got to want to come to West Ham United. And you're spot on, Paul. And we've got players that want to be here, which is exactly what we need. Patrick, Coventry and Ashby look a lot alike. Do they? I don't know about that. Yeah, maybe. Separated at birth. Lincoln, good evening to you. Oi. I love listening to your shows when I'm stoned. Oh, mate, you lucky bastard. All I can do is drink beer these days. I'm not allowed to go on the old... Not that I do any of that stuff. Never did. Good evening, Tyler. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. John, how are you, mate? Squad looks very strong. However, I haven't seen enough of Coventry to convince me he's Premier League standard. I think Ashby can do it. I'll get on to Coventry in a moment. I'll get on to all the players individually in a moment. Lincoln, Ashby nailed on to make it. Really hope it's with us. Looks a confident young man. Moyes will play him in Europa surely. I think you're absolutely right. I think he will. Daniela, I think again our season will depend on how we handle the 2 games a week, and I also think some of the youngest will help. I think now the fact that we've got 25 players there, all senior players, including Ashby and Coventry, I think it's pretty good. I think we've actually got 2 teams, but I want to see the teams mix. I don't want to see Cornet playing only in Europe and I don't know, Bowen only playing in the Premier League. I want to see Bowen have a go in Europe as well. I want to see Cornet have a go in the Premier League too. I want Moyes now. Moyes has got to prove himself and really start mixing up the squad. And with the greatest of respect to Bowen, people like Bowen, dropping Bowen when he's not on form. He picked up it a little bit against Tottenham during the week, but he's still not firing on all cylinders. Neil, how are you, mate? 7:25 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I hope you're well, Neil. Thanks for joining. Good evening, the kid. How are you? I hope you're well too. Who else have we got? Epic. How are you, mate? Isn't Downs a central defensive midfield? Well, he is. You got him there. You're absolutely spot on, Lincoln. He's along there, alongside Souček, Declan, and so's Colin Coventry. He's also a central defensive midfielder as well. Epic, good evening to you. I think we're likely to do business in January. Moyes should still have some money left in the transfer kitty. I don't think there's any left, to be honest with you. But I think we might see a bit of business in January. For example, if Vlasic continues to do well, that's a loan to buy. He might go in January. We may get a bit of money from him. Same maybe with Masuaku. He might be a loan to buy as well. And about Dawson as well. I'm going to talk about Dawson later on as well. And not that there'll be any money. Well, there'll be a little bit of cash, but actually, no, what they won't. They won't. But if Dawson goes in January, then we're going to have to do a little bit of business anyway. Lincoln. Neil, whereabouts are... Go on, tell him where you are, Neil. Alfie, how are you, mate? Haven't seen you for a while. There you go. Haven't been on live for a while. Great atmosphere at Tottenham. It wasn't it just, mate. Hoping for a convincing win tomorrow and potentially a Paqueta start. I'm saying a Paqueta, he'll score. He'll score. Good evening, Lee. Lee, thank you, mate. Look, people, if you're new to the channel, or if you're, finding me again, please do hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. Also, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to let you know when I'm on. I'm shit at doing that, so thank you for reminding me, Lee. Much appreciated. Good evening to you, English Yardie. I hope you're well, mate. Adam, the youngsters still need a little time to find their feet. Ashby and Coventry will come good. Even Downs will get game time. It's a learning curve. Yeah, good shout. Darren, Fabianski, Creswell, Ogbonna, Dawson, and Lanzini all need replacing next transfer windows. They're all out of contract. Plus, Declan will most probably be sold. Exactly. I think Moyes has tried to buy, not for the here and now, but I think he's tried to look forward in a year's time as well. I didn't think we were going to get two central midfielders. Maybe it was forced on us with Agard being injured. But look at Kehrer and also Agard coming in. We kind of I'm going to talk about these players anyway, but we kind of look like we're planning not just for this season ahead of us. We're also looking like we're planning for next season as well. What else we got here? Neil. Neil's answered. In rural SA, about 135 kilometers. You can read that. You might be next door neighbours. Disabled team, good evening to you. West Ham had a great transfer. We did indeed. I must admit, we did. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't really looked much at the other team transfer windows. I hope you guys did well, but not well enough to beat us when we play you. Lincoln, gone bush, mate. That's what supporting West Ham does. John, Darren Clarkson agreed. DM a bit light, but for me, but would love to have seen Gallagher on loan. It's never going to happen with Gallagher. We all wanted it to happen. Oh, and Broja, apparently he signed a 6-year deal with Chelsea today. Did he not? Correct me if I'm wrong. Drawn Inc., good evening to you. Hi, everyone. Best transfer window I can remember. It's been astonishing, hasn't it? Darren again. Flynn is not cut out for the Premier League right now, methinks still. I don't rate Coventry highly. If Rice Sochik get injured, I don't know, Darren. I think I know we kind of brought Flynn Downs for the future, and maybe that's why Moyes really wanted to push for Onana. I don't know. I think Coventry is a West Ham boy. I think he's going to put all the effort he can in to demonstrate that he's a good player. And I think Flynn Downs, give him a chance. I'll be interested to see. I would imagine that they will probably play some part in Europe, and let's see how they do. Now that we know who our opponents are, say against the Silkeborg, the Danish team, I just wonder. Let's see. Jason, good evening to you. Great to see you and Nikki on Hammer's chat last night. The future is 24/7 channel in association with the club. Wow, I will get absolutely hung up to dry by the missus if I kept doing this any longer than I currently do. Epic. Vlasic on fire. Yeah, he absolutely is. Good evening, Hammerette. How are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, Hammerette. Lincoln, I was born and said, you carry on chatting to each other. Good. Thank you, mate. I'm glad there's a community there and people chat to each other. That's really good. Dan Hammer, good evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. Crazy Cole, how are you? Haven't seen you for a while. January window, got 50p to spend. Masuaku up for it again. 50p left. Scott, good evening to you. Good evening, mate. How many goals do you think Scamacca will score this season? It honestly depends on how many starts he'll get. But if you're including Europe, I'm going to go for 16 goals. He's got 2 already. Why not? 16, including Europe. If you're on about the Premier League, I'll give him 10. How about that? Actually, then, no. If he's going to get 10 in the Premier League, he's going to get at least another 18 goals. Am I being too ambitious? I don't know. The kid, just want to know I'm not being a kid. Good to know that. Thank you for clarifying that. Chris, good evening to you, mate. Justin from work. What, mate? Bit late. I missed. No, really, you haven't. Not much at all. I've sort of got. I said who's gone, and I very briefly said who's in, and then the positions, etc. But I'm going to go into a bit more detail about the squad and who may be the winners, and I don't want to call them losers, but who may be in the first team and who may not see as much of the first team this coming season. Lincoln again. Let's not forget Vlasic is still our player. Could make it here yet. And Adam said, which is a good point, Serie A is a slower league. That will suit Vlasic, which is kind of true. But I want him to do well. Is he going to be able to get the number 11 shirt off Paqueta? But then again, if Lanzini, close your ears, Hammerette, if Lanzini leaves at the end of this season, then Paqueta will get the number 10 and give Vlasic back the number 11 shirt. You can open your ears now, Hammerette. Learn to dig. Longello strikes the ball better and has more pace. Neither are proving their defensive qualities are up to par. Longello, I did a show the other day. If you haven't seen it, then do go and look in the back catalogue. I did a show about all the academy players that have gone out on loan. We've got something like 9 academy players out on loan at the moment, and we've got 2 of them, Longello being one of them, in the championship. And Occo Flex is I can't remember who's gone to. Occo Flex is Swansea in the championship as well. Look, if they do well, we've got a couple of players in the academy that are out on loan. If they can cut their teeth there, especially the young guys in the championship, they could be coming back knocking on the door in Premier League football. So Creswell, as someone just said, going to be leaving this at the end of this season if his contract doesn't get extended. Then why not give Longello, if he does well, why not give him an opportunity to play in the first team? That would be good. Occo Flex, you can never be short of attacking midfielders. If he does well, why not again? You couldn't watch my show unless it was done. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, Gart. I'm not sure. Howard, I always don't. You all sitting there getting absolutely wasted while I'm sort of like, unbelievable. You should come over. Well, no. Well, when the missus is away. Beats, good evening to you. Heard Paqueta can sometimes have a poor attitude. I really hope he's not another Paye. We also heard that as well, and we almost thought he was going to get sent off on his first team. Something happened during the game, and we went, oh, shit, he's elbowed him. But thankfully, he only got a yellow card, but he's got a bit of a temper. You know, South Americans do. Good evening to you, Trodge. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Good evening, Ashley. Can't believe Dan James gone to Fulham on loan. Yeah, that's an odd one, isn't it? But oh well. Daniela, I agree with you on mixing the team for all games. It's got to happen. It's absolutely got to happen. I'll be surprised if Moyes just sticks with the same 11. I wouldn't like that. I think the whole squad needs to feel part of not only the Premier League, but also the conference, the Europa Conference, and mix and match them. It's got to be done. Even for tactics, to be quite honest with you, it kind of makes sense. Good evening to you, John. What are you doing? Do you want to come on, John? If you do, you know where I am. Who else have we got here? Darren Rule, good evening to you. I hope we have a good season now. Getting used to being in the top 6. That's why West Ham spent that money to be up there. Come on, you Irons. And we did ask this question, I think last Friday in the Friday show. If we won a cup and finished mid-table, would you be happy with that? Or would you think that would be a bad season? If we won a trophy, whatever it may be, the Europa Conference or the FA Cup, or even the League Cup, and we finished, say, 10th, would that be a poor season to you? I think it'd be a good one for me, but Lenstig, no. Baptiste did not go. I wish I'd pulled up the excuse me, I wish I pulled up the list, but did Baptiste go? No, he didn't. He didn't go. He didn't go in the end. Graham, Moyes now has an embarrassment. Have a look at after the show. Learn to dig. Have a look at the show I've done on the players that have gone out on loan, because there are about 9 of them. I'm sure Baptiste wasn't one of them. Graham, Moyes now has an embarrassment of riches in the squad. It'll be interesting to see how he weaves them into a good team. This is the next part of the process, isn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt, this is the next part. Steve, Evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. John Elliott's, good evening to you. When we get back, centre back, when we get centre back, I guess you're talking Agerd. We can see Kehrer as a defensive. Oh, I see. When we get Agerd back, we can see Kehrer as a defensive midfielder. I think he'll be world class. Interestingly, he not only plays at right back, he not only plays at centre back, he also plays as a central defensive midfielder. Not at many times, but that's a really good shout, John. Really good shout. Yeah, I think anyway, I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Lincoln. Need big Christmas dildo sales for a January transfer. Kitty. Neil. Lincoln, I was born and raised in Adelaide, lived in Essex when I was living and working in the UK back in 73, 74, retired 17 years ago. Do you ever visit the UK again, Neil? You should. Come out for a beer. Dynamite. I hope we get 20 victories in the Premier League this season and win the conference. On the boys. That would be fantastic. Mihailo, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Great window. Patience is the key now to a rebuild. Hope Declan thinks about a new contract. And I mentioned that yesterday when I did a brief show yesterday. I just wonder now. A lot of people are saying, "Oh well, Declan will go at the end of this season." Blah blah blah. I just wonder if Declan will look around the changing room. He's the captain of this team, and he'll see beside him Paqueta, Scamacca, all these players, and go, "Do you know what? Maybe, just maybe, it won't be. Why should I leave? This could be the making of something big, and I'll be the manager. I'll be the captain of this team. I just wonder if he might think twice about leaving at the end of this season. Vinay, I think Downs, Coventry, and others will get a chance in the League Cup and the FA Cup, and maybe the Europa Conference as well. Yeah, good point. Patrick, at first I didn't like the idea of having a beer, but then it grew. You started early with dad jokes, haven't you? Lincoln, we haven't seen Downs yet. Not sure Coventry quite at the level we need. So what does that say about Downs? I think they've both got to be given a chance. I think someone else just said they'll be given opportunities in the cup competitions, and let's see how they do. Let's see. Let's not judge them just yet. Let's see how they do. But you might be right. You might be right. Dan Hammer. I don't understand how people can write Coventry and Downs off. They haven't been given a chance yet. Yeah, I agree. We've got to give them a chance. They're the two young players. Oh, well, Ashby as well. 3 young players in the squad that are going to probably get enough game time in the cup competitions and so on. And let's see how they fare. Steve, hope Scamacca is in the squad tomorrow. I know he trained. He did definitely train. Let me tell you the mess up I made. It was more about the Chelsea team than anything else. Let me just log back in a second to get my notes. I did a preview earlier on. I completely messed it up, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Scamacca did train today. He'll probably be on the bench rather than start. I think he will be on the bench. Now, I talked about the Chelsea team, and I said, Aubameyang, bloody hell, what's wrong with me? I've got one of the worst sounding surnames ever, and I can't pronounce anyone else's. Aubameyang, I said, he'll start, and then I was reminded he's got a broken jaw, so I made a mistake there. Confirmed, James is back, and he's available for selection. So too is Loftus-Cheek, and also Trevor Chalobah is available as well. And they've also got new signing, Wesley Fofana, who may go straight into the centre of defence. And I said earlier on in the show that I thought their defence was quite weak and they could be got at. And of course, I completely forgot that they signed Fofana for 70 million. But there's also a suggestion that Sterling may not start, which is quite interesting. But then, as I said earlier, Broja, he might. He's now apparently signed a 6-year deal, and he might start tomorrow, lead the line. It'd be ironic, wouldn't it, if he ended up scoring against us? That wouldn't be good. But anyway, he's not a West Ham player, so it don't matter. So yes, long answer to a short question. Hope Scamacca's in the squad. I think he will be. I think we've got 1 or 2 players. It looks like Creswell might be out. It looks like he's got a knock, so he may not be available. Anyone else? I don't think so. So it's really Dawson's back in training, but I don't think he'll start. Oggy might get game time. If Moyes decides to go for a back 3, he may play Ogbonna, but then he's going to have to sacrifice something further up front for that. But we'll see. Steve, Lanzini will go to River Plate at the end of the season. Well, that's what we hear, but we've also got a 2-year extension on his contract. So he may not leave just yet. Andrew, There is no doomsday yet, Hammerette. What did Hammerette say? Doomsday, Hammerette? No. Oh, Trini, not a mark on Manu. Don't worry, he may not leave. We'll contact him and find out if he's willing to stay for you, Hammerette. Trodge, homegrown is going to be a problem. None of these loans work out. Well, that's a really good point. But let's put it in perspective. We've got 2 loan signings gone out to the Championship. We've got another 2 that have gone out to League One, and another 2 that have gone out to League Two. Then there's another 2 players who have gone to other leagues. One Harrow Borough, whatever league they play in, and then we've got Nathan Trott, who's gone to Denmark. So some of these players, playing in League One and League Two, a couple of them have still got a couple of years on their contracts left. So if they do all right, they've still got another year to maybe go out on loan again. But I think that it's going to be quite interesting to see how Okoflex and how Longello get along in the Championship. They're the 2 that we've got to look out for throughout this season. Trini, late shows, late night activities still. Mate, I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Well, the missus is out. She's gone out. She's gone out for dinner. I mean, anyway. So I thought, well, why not do? I wasn't going to do one. I thought, why not? Adam, we will still need 4 or 5 players next season, but it's still a work in progress. We will indeed. But like I said a moment ago, if any of these youngsters can actually demonstrate that they're capable, then who knows? We might not need as many as we think by the end of this season. Hammer, I'm not that infatuated with Lanzini. I'll survive. That's a damn right lie. We all know that you are. Let's scroll down. Andrew. We need a trophy this year. We're not quite good enough to win the Premier League. Well, no, I don't think. I mean, in my lifetime to win the Premier League, it can happen. I mean, Leicester did it, so there's no reason why we can't. But winning a trophy, we're due one, aren't we? It's about bloody time. Jason, winning the cup is always a big season for any club. Exactly. You remember that. It's a memory, which I think will be fantastic. Learn stick. 10th and a cup would be fine, so long as we get Champions League the year after. Good point. Yeah, I agree. Lincoln, Kehrer is going to be a legend at I know. I'm actually quite excited about him more, almost above and beyond all the other players that we've signed. Hammerette, we need to really go for the Conference League. Think there'll be a lot of Steaua Bucharest fans at the ground next week. Yeah, there could possibly be. Be interesting. Chris, a trophy in mid-table, I will take it. Like you said, this transfer window investment was all about longevity in the future. Champions League, the UEFA Conference League, and 10th will be a great success with more to come in years to come. Absolutely, mate. Totally agree. Steve, I reckon 8th and Europa Conference. I'd be happy with that. I think we all would. Good. Because there was a lot of debate about this, saying, if we don't finish top 6, regardless of anything we do in the cup competitions, then it's been a poor season. I don't agree with that at all. I think winning a trophy and finishing 8th, 9th, 10th, maybe, it would be an excellent season for West Ham United. Graham, 35 degrees in there. Oh, bastard. It's getting, autumn's coming. The nights are drawing in here now. So tomorrow it's a late day, but until that, watch the Hammer smash up the rent, boys. Absolutely. Hammerette, win the Conference League, and I don't mind if we finish 12th. There you go. That's logical. Lee, it took Bowen time to get into the squad. Good point. Do you think Moyes will do the same to the new boys? Cornet, Flynn, Dawson. Cornet is the one that interests me more than anything else. Why is he not? Bowen's not been on fire, as the song goes. And I'm actually really surprised that Bowen stayed on throughout the whole game on Wednesday. I just thought he came to life a little bit later on. But I think I thought Cornet would come on for at least 10 minutes to replace Bowen. And I was surprised that didn't happen. Trodge, mid-table and winning the conference is progression. Absolutely. Good evening, Aidan. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining. Are we all happy hammers today? We bloody well should be, mate. We bloody well should be. Right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop there, and I'm not going to go into the squad in a bit more depth. And so, our new signings, and I do include Areola in that, and talk a little bit more about them. And who, okay, so let's start with Areola. Right. Many will say he's replaced David Martin. Not quite. Not really. As I said earlier, David Martin was never really anywhere near the first team, apart from when we were really quite desperate when he played a couple of seasons back. But Areola, look, he can. The only one I can compare him to, obviously, is Fabianski. Look, we all love Lucas Fabianski for what he's done for West Ham United, etc. Great player, and he's proven even now he's proven to still be, quite handy, etc. But let's be honest with you, many of us want to see Areola start in the first team in the Premier League. Look, his all his stats. Clean sheets, 116 in 284 appearances. That's gone up because he's played a couple of games already for us in the Conference League this season. Save percentage rate, just under 80%. Excellent ball distribution, pass success rate 65%, French international, and so on. With a clean sheet success rate of 1 in every 3 games is quite phenomenal, or 1 in just under 80 every 3 games is quite phenomenal. 41% clean sheet success rate. He is the future. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. He's the future. But I guess a lot of us want to see him start games now, and a lot of us thought Fabianski will be the cup keeper this season. But he's clinging on. He's hanging on. He's played so far this season, 5 appearances, goals conceded 6, 1 clean sheet so far. But I guess we want to see Areola, don't we? That's an improvement. So that's the first one, the goalie. So before I move on, I'm going to see your comments about that before I move on. Right, I'm going to jump to the bottom so to see what you say about goalies. Have any of you said? Here we go. So Areola is a top keeper. Great character too. Epic. Fabianski needs to go in January. He won't. He'll stay. Who else? Any other comments about goalies? Here we go. Chris, Fabianski, I love the bloke, but his distribution is slow. It is frustrating and not always very accurate. So frustrating. Areola needs to get starting more games. Epic, I think Areola should play every game. So I think a lot of you are kind of in agreement there. Areola should start, better distribution. Absolutely. Neil, need Areola on the bench to translate Nolan's messages to Paqueta. Did you see that? Did you see Nolan explaining to Areola to explain to Paqueta what he wanted Paqueta to do on the pitch? It was hilarious. Aidan, we need 2 keepers for no, not saying that we don't, absolutely, but I think Areola should be number 1. Troj, Fabi, number 1, great. It's good that we got the mix of views. Learn to dig, Areola. Liam, prefer Areola. Fab is too slow. Gonna be tough. Them beats worth joining on Facebook. I don't know what you mean, but you're saying something to beats. James, the fabulous Fabs 1 is still the number 1. See, people still have Fabianski as their preferred choice. Prefer Areola. Fabianski is too slow. Good shot stopper, Fabianski, but unfortunately, as people said, his distribution isn't great. Troj, Fabi catches it most of the time, not punch it out. But I don't care whether they punch it out or so long as it gets away from the area, I don't mind. Vinay, Fab often holds on to the ball waiting for their defenders to get in place. Yeah, does that a lot. That's very sporting of him, but football is not cricket. Right, and Henry, let's finish off with Henry before I move on to the next one. Henry says super Fab. Right, so next player that we've signed. And that, of course, is, I'm not doing them in order. I can't remember who the first signing was. But the next one is Aged, central defender. I'm doing it by order of position. So, Aged, all right, we haven't seen him yet. His stats and everything are fantastic. Can play in a back 2, can play in a back 3. Excellent ball distribution. Like people have said, can't wait to see what he's going to be like alongside Kehrer. 90% pass success rate for a centre-back is not bad, especially when we've had centre-backs in the past that have just got it and booted it anywhere away from our 18-yard box. Good aerial duel success, good ground duel success. Comfortable on the ball, can play out from defence. Moroccan international. So who do we compare him with? Well, unfortunately, it's got to be Oggy, isn't it? He will be the long-term successor to Ogbonna. Ogbonna is his last year. He knows Ogbonna. He's been quite emotional in interviews, hasn't he? He knows this is the last year of his contract at West Ham United. He knows it's over. And he's been, just for me, one of the best defenders we've had in a long, long, long time. I used to have debates about Ogbonna and talking about whether he was better than Winston Reid or not. And there's an awful lot of players, an awful lot of fans that will say Winston Reid hands down. I disagree. I think Ogbonna is there or thereabouts, to be quite honest with you. He's been a wonderful servant to West Ham United. But that, that's jumped a bit. Agerd is the heir successor. And I know we haven't seen yet what he's capable of doing, but I wonder what you guys think. So, give me a few comments on what you think about Ogbonna and Agerd, and tell me, all right, it might be a bit unfair, to be quite honest with you, because we've still not seen Ogbonna Agerd playing. But what do you think? Are you glad that we've got an heir successor? We needed it anyway. So let me know. I'm going to see if I've got any comments. I'm going to ignore the other ones about Paqueta, etc., because I'm going to talk about those in a moment. Here we go. Mandy, Oggy, oi, oi, oi. He's honestly, I love the player. I love the guy. I think he's been absolutely superb for us, without a shadow of a doubt. Howard, the Godfather, Ogbonna, we're going to miss him. I'm telling you now, we're going to miss him. Chris, the Ogfather, what a legend. We'll miss him. Who replaces this old head on the pitch dressing room? Though, like Oggy, Dawes, Nobles, yeah, a big character, not only in on the pitch, but also off it as well. Going to be a massive miss. Beats, Ogbonna, Reed. Which one do you have a preference? For me, it was Ogbonna. I love Reed for what he was, but Ogbonna for me is just the master defender. Hammerette, again in pre-season, was so impressive. Actually, good point, he was. Vinay, Stell was on a loan deal. It was a short loan deal, only lasted one evening. Henry, Ogbonna's 2021 season was world class. Absolutely. Mandy, the Italian smoothie. Yep, absolutely. Committee, good evening to you. The Reed and Ogbonna, both legends. Reed deserved a proper goodbye. I'd agree with you there. Yeah, I would agree. He did deserve a better farewell than he got. Totally agree. Paul, Ogbonna was seriously missed after Man U took him out last season. Totally agreed. Frano, Agerd, but we haven't seen him so far. I know, mate, and that's why I'm kind of saying I know it's a little bit of an unfair judgment to make, but it's going to be Ogbonna that he replaces. Ogbonna leaves at the end of this season. Again, is the left-footed centre-back. It is a little bit unfair, but let me put it in another way. When Agerd is back up and running, do you think Ogbonna will play more, or do you think Agerd? What would Moyes do? Will Moyes pick Agerd or Ogbonna for Premier League football? Let me put it that way and see what you guys think. Learn to dig. Moyes needs to give him the vice captain. He's got it. Ogbonna, Fabianski, and Creswell are all vice captains for this season, and they're all going to take it in turns behind Declan. Trini, Reed and Oggy would have been formidable together. The Ogfather, I have the hoodie. He's Trodge. Ogbonna much better than Reed. That's my thinking too. Hammerette, Zuma could lose his start once Agerd is fit. That's a really interesting shout. Yeah, good point. Good point. Steve, never forgot Ogbonna's last-minute winner against Liverpool in the Cup. Marvellous goal. Beats, I'd have, sorry, mate. Thank you. I'd have Ogbonna over Reed. Adam, Oggy is good, but you can see he's lost that yard. He has, but then so Zuma. How slow is Zuma at the moment? That's a bit worrying. Good evening, Grassham. Oggy, typical Italian defender, matured like a fine wine. He's just fucking, he'll go back to Italy and play another 2 seasons in that league. Henry. Reed rinsed the club a lot of money, never played through injury, overrated. I wouldn't say he was overrated, but he was always injured. Hammer, Oggy is so tough, but we see that in Agerd and Kehrer too. Good points. James, Oggy is pure class. Agerd will have to be on the very top of his game to oust him. Good shout. Good shout. Vinay, Moyes will pick Oggy. He likes veterans, for example, Fabianski. That's also a good call. Good evening to you, Chris Biggs. I hope you're well, mate. Oggy needs to be in the squad for insurance policy. He's back. I just wonder if he might start tomorrow. Frano, Agerd is a logical choice. Ogbonna is there to make Scamacca to fit in my opinion. I think Oggy is a bit more than just a translator. Mind you, Scamacca can speak very good English. Epic. Ogbonna, Creswell, and Fabianski will all be gone next season. That is a good point. That is true. Good evening, Scarborough. Agerd, when he's fit, I tipped him to be one of the best centre-backs in the league before his injury. Good point. Good evening to you, Kaiser. Extend Oggy for another year. I don't know if it will happen. I'd love to. I love it too. But they've already extended it for this year. They actually kept their word. They did say, when he picked up the really bad injury, because that was last season, was his last year. And they said, we're going to extend it anyway, whatever happens. Adam, What does anyone say about Oggy staying to coach? What a good shout. Yeah, I like that. I like that. All right, let's stop there because we're going to go on to the next player that we signed. And that is young Flynn Downs. Excuse me a second. It's Friday night. Cheers, everyone. And that, of course, is Flynn Downs. So in a moment, I'm going to want your views on Flynn Downs. So we know about him. Look, gifted passer of the ball, strong tackler, competitive all-round player. He had the highest percentage pass success rate in English leagues last season. All the English leagues, 95% pass success rate. He's represented England in the under-19s and under-20s as well. Look, we've heard what Moyes has said about him. You know, I expected a bit more. Maybe Flynn Downs thought he was just going to walk into the team. I don't know. I'm sure that the young lad hasn't got an attitude in any way. He's a West Ham fan, etc. He must be cock a hoop being here. You know, we've got to give him time, haven't we? We've got to give him time. But who are we going to compare him to? Well, we've got to, haven't we? You know, I know Mark Noble's left, and it's almost embarrassing to try and compare that young lad to this legend here. You know, but this is the player that in a kind of a way he's replaced. I guess if we bought in Onana or someone else, etc., then we would be talking quite a different conversation now. But, you know, in essence, Flynn Downs has sort of come in to take the place of Mark Noble, certainly in that kind of position on the pitch. Look, is there a comparison? Yeah, I mean, the experience that this man had, you know, the leadership qualities, etc., etc., tall order. But who's to say that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, Flynn Downs won't become the heir apparent for leading that team out, etc. He's only 23 years of age. He signed a deal with us till 2027 with a 1-year option. He's got plenty of time to prove himself. Plenty of time. Is he an improvement on Noble? Noble was losing his legs at the end of at the end of last season. He was losing his legs for a couple of seasons. But I guess we need to see Flynn Downs. You know, I've looked at how Flynn Downs has been played for Ipswich and for Swansea, and I won't lie to you, people. You know, it looks really, really decent, but fair enough, it's a different level, you know. So you've got to you've got to accept the fact that you were looking at sort of championship football, etc. But he looked classy, he looked really good, and I wonder if it might take just a little bit longer for him to settle in. But I think it's still, you know, it's a long-term purchase, this one. And if he doesn't quite do it this season, I've got no doubt he'll do it moving forward. Right. What have you guys got to say about Flynn Downs? It's a tough one, I've got to be honest, because I've seen all the comments about Kehrer, but I'm going to get on to Kehrer and all the other players that we bought later on. So do forgive me. I'm not going to look at those comments yet. I'm just going to look at the comments for Flynn Downs. Flynn Downs, NA, not applicable. Yeah, you got a point, learned to do. I know it's a difficult one, but I'm trying to judge it on, you know, why did we buy him? Why did we go and spend money on him? Something that we've seen that was clearly evident that we thought he was going to fit in. We stole him also from Crystal Palace, who wanted him, who probably would have been a starter for them. So I guess we saw something that was worth investing in here. So, yeah, I get your point. You are right. It's a difficult one to comment on. Scarborough. Downs is going to come good, but the jump is just going to take a bit of time, just like Bowen. That's the sort of comment I'm looking for. Thank you. Steve, Downs, in my opinion, will end up like Krul. I hope not, but I can see it. I don't think he'll be that bad. It could never be that bad. I mean, it was bad. And I'm going to talk about Krul in a minute. Henry, Flynn was very good against Reading, clear of Coventry. Yeah, good point. Trudge, how did Flynn struggle, I wonder? This is it, Trudge. I mean, you know, Moyes has talked about training and suggested that he was expecting more from Downs. Maybe he's just not applying himself at the moment. Maybe he's finding it difficult. Maybe he's realising that having played for, with the greatest of respect, to Ipswich throughout all his career and then Swansea last season, maybe the jump from that level of football to this one has been immense for him. It'll take time. It'll take time. Yeah, Trudge in training. Well, they're seeing it, so they must wonder. Maybe he's just not quite got it yet. John, are you on the Mythos? No, I'm not. I'm on the Madri, which is actually, I don't want to promote unless they want to pay me. That's actually quite a nice light beer. And I don't normally drink lager, but there you go. I promoted it. They should pay me for that. Hammer it. He is decent. Feel sorry for him a bit. Hope he gets a chance in the Cups, proves his worth. Yeah, I hope so too. Howard. Downs was for the future. He'll be mustard. Epic Greek beer is surprisingly decent. Yeah, Mythos ain't bad, actually. Stella or Stella? Well, unless I've lost something down there, it's Stell. Oh, do you mean the... Trini, Flynn Downs is eager to prove himself, and I'm sure he's willing to work hard and take his time. I think so too. I agree. Adam, Downs is a work in progress. Give him time and he'll turn out good. Absolutely. Scott, 10 out of 10. There are still holes, but the quality we have is only excellent. A back three of Agerd, Zuma, and Kehrer, class. Interesting. Who we got here? Steve, Stella's on Demis Rousseau's lager. It's a bit hairy for me. Daniela, have to give Flynn Downs time. He's one for next season. I think we'll see a little bit of him this season as well. He can pass better than Kral, that's for sure. Poor Kral. Kerry, Hammerette. No one can ever replace Nobles, but I can see the link. Yeah, I mean, I did it almost deliberately because, we've lost 8 players. So I thought, well, I've got to compare like for like, and Downs is the closest that we've got. Darren Flynn said he has found the jumping quality hard to deal with. There you go. Paul Evans. Downs will come good. Great signing. Great future signing. Frano. Downs is like Noble. I believe is Mr. Future West Ham. It's kind of what I was kind of alluding to. Spencer. Downs needs a chance to shine. If he's not ready, why sign him, loan him out? Yeah, there was talk. I said it a moment ago. Why there was talk about the potential of loaning him out. I mean, surely he's not that far behind that Moyes thought he's got to go out. I mean, then might as well just bought him and then loaned him back to Swansea if that was the case. Trini. Surely for true comparison, we have to look at the players when they were the same age. I know, but this is the best way I can do it because I've got a comparison for Kral as well. So unfortunately, I get that. Yeah, you've got a very, very good point there. But I guess I'm looking at, we lost 8 players. We bought in 8 players. So, it's almost like for like in terms of, places. Grossom needs some time, some game time. Thursday night in League Cup will hopefully give him a chance. That's what I'm hoping for as well. Neil, too early to give an opinion on Downs as we haven't really seen much of him so far, but I think he'll end up being good. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Scott, he can play cup games and some European games. Absolutely. John, good evening to you, mates. I'm sure Downs will get his chance when the Conference League group stages get started and the games come thick and fast. Hope he takes it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think, he's the sort of player who's got to work hard in training now and start demonstrating that he is absolutely capable. And you're absolutely right, John. We're going to have game after game after game. And this is where Moyes earns his money and starts using the squad wisely. And that includes players like Down. You know what he did last season, don't you? And Kral was the perfect example of that. He looked at some players that were on the bench and went, don't fancy you. He can't do that now, can he? He's bought these players. And I hope Downs doesn't suffer the same way as Kral did last season. Drawing. Glad we got Flynn Downs. Will surprise us all. Good shout. Hammerette. Trini, but it's changed so much from when Noble was 20. Yeah. Well, when did Noble make the first team? How old was he? Oh, he's quite young, wasn't he? Daniela. Downs will probably start in league in the FA Cup games. Let's do a couple more before I move on to the next player. I'm sure Flynn will have his day, but until then, he'll be an excellent squad player. Let's face it, that's one hell of a first 11 to break into. Isn't it just? Let's have another look at that. Look at that squad. It will be difficult to break into that without a shadow of a doubt. You've got to be damn good to start making the first team now at West Ham United. It's no longer a first team game. It's a squad game, isn't it? As we've been told many a time before, it's now down to David Moyes to start making sure that he uses that squad accordingly. Adam, Oggy in Zuma isn't as good as Oggy who reads the game so well. Oggy in Zuma isn't as good as Oggy who reads the game so well. Look, he kept Richarlison quiet. Yeah, when he came on. Good point. One more, and then we'll go on to the next player. Scarborough. Midfield is a difficult place to come in, especially with Rice and Souček gelling again. He'll get chances, though. Absolutely. Right. Let's move on to the next player, shall we? And that, of course, is Scamacca. Now, we don't have a player to compare him to, do we? We haven't had a striker since Allaire. So who am I going to compare him to? Look, Gianluca Scamacca signed with us till 2027 with a 1-year option, 23 years of age, 6'5", typical target man. I still can't spell. Typical number 9 target man. Very direct style of play, as we've seen in the games that he's played in. Drops quite deep to get involved in the game. He's got good striking out that goal against Viborg. All right, it was lesser competition. But that goal away to Viborg, what a great strike. Standing behind the defender, waiting for his moment, jumping in front of him and slicing it in. Superb. I want to see him shoot from outside the box, because I saw the reels before when we were going to sign him. And I saw some of his shooting technique. Fuck me. He's good. He almost side foots it into the goal, but he places it and it goes with such speed that it's like it's there. It's in the goal before you know it. So what else? Great strike. Yeah, he's adaptable. 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Now that we've got Paqueta in, I just wonder if we're going to start changing our formation. I know Moyes is still sticking to the 4-2-3-1 at the moment, but let's see. Career appearances, 134, 44 goals, 4 assists. He doesn't provide the goals, he just scores them. Shot accuracy rate, 57%, and he was averaging 2.2 shots per game, and I can't spell Italian. Who are we comparing him to? Well, it's got to be Yarmolenko. I know it's not a like for like, but unfortunately, he's the only one I've got. And Yarmolenko, I know he did great for us in the last season. It was an emotional last season for him, etc. But I think you've got to be honest. You've got to accept that Scamacca is an improvement on Yarmolenko, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the guy's going to score goals. Someone asked me earlier on, how many goals do I think Scamacca will score? I think he'll get 18 goals. I might say it'd be 20 before the night's out. So let's see what you guys have got to say about Scamacca. So do forgive me. I'm going to miss out the other comments. So let's start with Scamacca. There we go. Frano, Scamacca needs game time with the team so they link up and he will shine. So far, Moyes has got this one right. Yeah, he's getting game time. And if he wasn't ill the other day, I think he might have started. And if he wasn't ill, he might start against Chelsea. But I think he'll be on the bench on Saturday. I hope they allow him to have long shots. He just better take it and whack it, Trini. Scott, Scamacca will start 30 games out of our 52 this season. He will score 23 goals. Guaranteed if he plays that much. If he has the chances Antonio had, he would score more. That I agree with. James Bond, Scamacca looks brilliant up top and he's a typical Italian workhorse too. Good shout. Adam, Scamacca will get 15 to 20 league goals. Good striker. The first league goal is so important. Paul Evans, he's a lethal weapon. Grassham, Scamacca has shown glimpses of genius. Give him time with Paqueta, and it could be. I'm smiling because I could just imagine it now. Paqueta and Scamacca gelling. Fuck. Honestly, people, are you still pinching yourselves? Graham, any advance on 20? The night ain't over yet. Who knows what I might end up with? I'll end up saying he'll score more than Haaland, that bloke from City. Hammerett, bet Spuds were relieved when Scamacca was on the team sheet. I bet they were. Do you know what? He would have won us the game. And I looked at the game again earlier on against Spurs and Paqueta and Emerson getting in each other's way. One left it for the other. Paqueta, you could have been a hero instantly if you'd have just put your laces through it. Steve, Scamacca is, I bet you're happy, Steve. We need a striker, Steve used to say all throughout last summer and winter, and you got one. Scamacca is pure class. Scott, again, I think given the game time, it will be near the top of the league. Massive improvement on Antonio. Comparison would be Champions League level to Championship. Yeah. Learn to dig. Clinical efficiency in front of goal. Fingers crossed. Absolutely, mate. And like someone else just said, the first goal goes in the Premier League. It'll be an avalanche. Scott, I love Antonio, but Scammer's another level. I do as well. And not taking anything away from Antonio whatsoever. He's been a success at West Ham United. Whatever position you've asked him to play in, he's done it, and he's done it with aplomb. But we do need a striker, and I'm so glad that we've got one. Mandy, Scamacca, Paqueta, Benny, and Bowen. Can it happen? Oh, how brave is David Moyes? Trini, I want to see him in a square up. Looks like he can handle himself. I bet he can. He does. He's a big lad, isn't he? And he doesn't look like someone that you're going to mess around with. Neil, Scamacca is a workhorse who doesn't just hang around up front waiting for a cross. He really gets around. He's part of a full-on attack when we have the ball. Good shout. Absolutely. Hammerett, no one will come anywhere near Haaland for goals. That bloke is ridiculous. Well, I know. Did he score? How many hat-tricks has he got? How many hat-tricks has he got now in the Premier League? Has he got 3 or 2? Or How many he's scored? He's on double. Is he on double figures yet? He's on double figures, isn't he? I mean, fucking hell. Fucking hell. John, I think Scamacca will be a great signing, but he will also push Antonio as well, which might be just as important. Really good shout. Absolutely. Howard, Scamacca, 25 in all competitions, going massive. By the end of the night, we're going to have him at 40 goals. Beats big handsome Italian, 15 goals this season, easy. I agree. I'm hoping. I'm hoping he'll get quite a few. Trini, Haaland is a tapping merchant. I don't care. Do you? He scores them. Does it really matter how he scores them? My God, he's at the right place at the right time. The man's a beast. He's an absolute beast. Martin, Antonio would definitely up his game now, guaranteed. That's what we need a squad for, isn't it? Just piss off. I guess you heard about his dad and his granddad, wasn't it? I think his granddad squared up to someone, and his dad went around the Roma car park smashing up all the cars. Haaland, 2 hat-tricks in 2 games. Madness. He's on 9 Premier League goals already. Right. Let's not get jealous. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? And here's one for you. I'm telling you now, I like this player. I really, really, really like this young man. Thilo Kehrer, look, all right, he's given away a penalty and he scored an own goal. But let's be fair. I don't know what's gone on there. I got his shirt from the West Ham website, and that's how it came out. Where's the blue collar gone? It's all a bit weird. Anyway, the penalty he gave away. I mean, you can't blame him, can you? That wasn't his fault. He was hung out to dry by Zuma by giving the ball away, and then we knew it. There's no way Zuma was going to get back in time. Absolutely no way. And Kehrer had a choice to make, and he brought the player down. And then the own goal. I mean, it was going in anyway. But that aside, he looks extremely gifted. Extremely gifted. He looks like a classy player. I think we've got a bargain on our hands, to be honest with you. Excuse me. Versatile defender. Can play defensive midfield, can play right back, centre back, forward thinking, aggressive defender, great at anticipating play, comfortable in the back 4, also has pace down the right flank as well. German international, 20 odd German caps. You're not shit if you're in the German team, and I think we've got a bargain. I really do. I think, like I said earlier on, yes, it's fantastic. Paqueta's going to excite us. Scamacca's going to score the goals and all that sort of stuff. But this young man, I think, is going to be the surprise purchase of the season for us. I think he's going to be superb. Absolutely talented young man. Contracted till 2026, 4-year deal with a 2-year option. And let's hope we keep him for all the length of that. Right. Who are we comparing him to? Had to be. It had to be is a Diop, didn't it? Look, you know what? I won't lie to you. I liked his. I thought that maybe, just maybe, he would have, come good, but it wasn't to be. He's gone to Fulham. Didn't have a great start. Let's see how he fares with Fulham. It's his make or break. It's going to be a tough season for him, I think, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to see him go, but then when you've got Kehrer in, we paid roughly the same prices. We sold Diop for 15 mil. We paid 17 odd 20 mil for Kehrer with add-ons, etc. Bargain, eh? Absolute bargain, to be quite honest with you. I think he's superb. But what do you guys think? Let's now talk about Kehrer, shall we? Kehrer, for me, is the missing piece to help our passing become more progressive. Great Agerd replacement. Not a great Agerd replacement, but a great Diop replacement, I would hasten to say. Stu, he's only given a penalty and the own goal because he's trying, which is what we all want to see. Good shout, mate. I absolutely wasn't slating him for giving both those away without a shadow of a doubt. You're absolutely right. The guy's class. You can see it. Kehrer is class. Hammerette, if he was our second choice, then Agerd has his big boots to fill for sure. What a back line we have. The future of that back line, when we've had Zuma and Dawson and Ogbonna, etc. And now we've got 2 young central defensive midfielders that can smash it for the next 3 or 4 seasons at West Ham United. in Kehrer and Agerd. I mean, pinch yourselves. Keep doing it. Graham is a Mercedes of a footballer. Absolutely. Scott Kehrer is class. He will make the odd mistake, but makes us so much better going forward. Absolutely love the lad. And how good is Agerd if Kehrer was our second choice? Good point. Good point. If Agerd was the one that Moyes really wanted, how good is Agerd going to be? Oh, dear. Neil, Kehrer is our best money for value signing by a country mile. Absolutely. Beats. Think Kehrer would do well here. End of the day, you're not at clubs like PSG if you're shit. Absolutely agree, mate. Totally. Good evening to you, Astrophos. Diganis. Olagala. Greetings from Greece. Is it 2 hours later over there or 1 hour now? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. Trini. Hadn't heard much about him, but he has made a number of appearances for Germany, so must have something good about him. He looks class, a modern-day defender. Learn to dig. Kehrer, technically superior, effortlessly fast, two-footed bargain. It's a who? Very true. Mandy, all of our signings have sell-on value as well. What's going on? I don't know, Mandy. I don't know, but you're absolutely right. You know, all of our signings at this moment in time have got sell-on value. You could argue maybe, just maybe Emerson might be the one, the odd man out there. But even he at 28, at 28, 20, has he just turned 28, 29? Even he could get a bit of money back from him if we sell him. Martin, if Thilo is halfway as good as you say still, then at 20 million he's a steal. Just watch him play, Mark. Honestly, mate, just watch him play and you will be like, oh, yeah, all right. Nice one. Well done, David. Or well done, Newman. Whoever bought him, who cares? He's at West Ham. Adam Kehrer is brilliant. He's just got to get better and is quick. And that's what we need in defense. Absolutely. Frano, Kehrer is an absolute bargain for us. Still can't believe that we got him. Such a young but still experienced player. Yes. Claude. To me, the effects of a transfer window is only seen after the impacts of players who come in and make, and basically who comes. Yeah, I agree, Claude. Absolutely agree. But so far, what we've seen so far, for us, Areola in goal. He's proven himself already. For the few games that we've seen Kehrer, he's already beginning to do the business as well. Scamacca, he looks like he's going to be a handful. Paqueta, already in just the half game he played, is looking like a handful. Cornet, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, he's had first team Premier League experience for a season, scored 9 goals in a struggling team. So far, Emerson, you know, another player that's got first team senior experience. He's not going to be no great shakes, but he's going to be solid, you know. And so I think maybe at the moment, the only player that maybe might not do it in the way that we would like to is maybe young Flynn Downs. John, such a shame as it didn't work out. Was class in his first season. I think Kehrer might be our best bit of business in this window. I 100% agree with you. James, Kehrer looks the dog's danglies. Our best signing so far, in my opinion. Versatile too. Very sprung dirt technique, as they say in Germany. That probably needs spell check. Don't worry. The way I pronounce it, you probably got it right and I got it wrong. Paul, Kehrer is pure quality. Absolutely. Hammerette, seems that every defender we get is better than the last. Such good progression from Moyes and Newman. Superb. Zuma is only 27, I know, but looked like he's 37 at the moment. I don't know what's going on. His knees apparently he's on a new training regime, you know, to protect his knees. Really worrying, really worrying. Graham, I see Kehrer becoming our right back and a Gerd central defender. I see them becoming, I think possibly, yeah, that's a good shout. A lot of people have said that, but I think Kehrer prefers to play in the centre. So I can see Kehrer and Agerd being our future centre backs, and perhaps even what we said earlier on, Kehrer also playing central defensive midfield when he's needed. The kid, my mouth is watering so much with the quality of our squad. I'm tripling. Go and get a towel. Darren Rule. West Ham team look really good this season. Boy, oh boy. Now they just got to do it on the pitch, haven't they? Astrophos, I thought it was 2 hours. I'm glad, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining it, even though it's so late. Adam, Diop was a disappointment, just didn't push on, and that's a waste of talent. That's the disappointing thing. Happened before, though, hadn't it? Scarborough, I know it was 10 million. Well, 10 million plus add-ons, 10.1 million or something, but 10.1 million plus add-ons apparently comes to about, you know, it will end up being something like 17 million, but I'm saying he's already worth 20. There you go. In Moyes we trust. We sure do, Lee, don't we? In Moyes we trust. If all centre backs, Mandy, are fit, could Kehrer play left back? No, I think that's the only position that he possibly can't play at left back. John, with a Gerd and Kehrer, going to be awesome. Going to be, there you go, awesome. Let's scroll down a few more before I move on to the next player. Mandy, Hammerette, Mandy, someone suggested earlier Kehrer is in the mid with Rice. What a partnership that would be. And he can play that position as well. He certainly can. Darren, Kehrer played right back for most of it. He did for PSG. You're absolutely right. He absolutely did. Howard, how do you think your window was, Claude? No real big names like Jesus for the Gooners. Be nice to Claude. Be nice to him. He's come back in. All fair play to him. Budgie, good evening to you, Clive. I hope you're well. Apology. No problem, mate. You've been working. We all understand. We got to earn a crust. Absolutely. No problem. Mandy, Rice and Kehrer at centre backs. Don't want Rice to go in at centre back, to be quite honest with you. Trini, Kehrer and a Gerd partnership, pace and passing, natural left foot, natural right foot. God, no wonder what's his name is salivating. Hammer it. So glad Oggy looks pretty much ready to go again. Zuma is a ticking time bomb with his knee, so Oggy and Kehrer would be partners for a while soon. Yeah, good shout. Let's do one more before I go on to the next player. Paqueta will make it. Let's talk about Paqueta in a minute, mate. Let's talk about. So he's okay. He's back on. He'll behave himself. He's okay. Scarborough. You know, he's a Spurs fan, but you know, we all have our crosses to bear. Let's move on. Emerson Palmieri. I'm going to take a swig. Excuse me 1 second. I didn't put any. See, I didn't put any videos to so you can't see me swigging beer. But I needed that. Right, so Emerson Palmieri, left back, left wing back, left midfielder, whatever you want to say, contracted. He's got a 4-year contract with West Ham United with a 1-year option. Age 28 years of age. Look, modern day attacking defender. I like Emerson. I know he's not going to be to the taste for a lot of fans, but I quite like him. Modern day attacking defender, good technical player, early anticipation of play when defending, good at interceptions and blocks, etc. Starts up counter attacks. Traditional. He's a traditional defender. That's why I quite like this signing. I know we all wanted a whole raft of other players, David Raum and Hickey, who's gone to Brentford, and all these sorts of players. But I quite like what Moyes has done here. He's got himself not only a player that's got pace that can play at left wing back, but he's also got a traditional defender, a proper left back as well. He can play proper left back. He's got very decent pace, another Italian international as well. And of course, you know, I was going to compare him to Cresswell at one point. But then I thought, he can only be compared to Arthur, King Arthur. King Arthur is out in Turkey, and he's doing really well. He's made 4 appearances. He's got 2 assists already. Bring him back, I say. I don't understand why anyone ever let him go. Madness to let him go. I can't believe it. Who do I write to complain that King Arthur is not playing in the first team when he's got those stats? 4 appearances and 2 assists already. I mean, what's going on? Look, let's be realistic. If you compare, and you've got to compare him. I know a lot of people are going to compare him to Cresswell, but you can't. Cresswell's still there. Cresswell will still get game time, etc. But because Arthur has gone, you can only compare him to Arthur in this situation. And for me, you know, the biggest problem I always had with Arthur was he always flattered to deceive. I want to see Emerson prove me wrong. I want to see, well, not prove me wrong, but I want to see Emerson start supplying goals, etc. But also Arthur sometimes used to just let the game go past him. The number of times he was on the pitch and he'd be literally just watching the game go past them and go, oh shit, I'm involved. I need to get back and defend. You know, and I don't want Emerson to me already. And from what I've seen of him at Chelsea, etc., Emerson to me is not the sort of player that lets the game go past him. You know, he's alert. You know, he's there. He's in position, etc. And I think that's why it's an improvement on Arthur. With the greatest of respect to Arthur, I do wish Arthur well. I hope he smashes it in the Turkish league. But then, you know, the Turkish league is not the Premier League, to be quite honest with you. So another player that I think, you know, has improved the squad already, purely, you know, for the comparison of Arthur Masuaku. But like I said, Emerson has got to prove it. Emerson has got to, you know, I was a little bit disappointed with this game the other day when he played, you know, it was, and he kind of didn't get into it, but he got better and better. And I think the more game time he has and gets himself established within the West Ham team, I think we're going to see a decent Emerson Palmieri. And I think, when needed, you're going to see him play at left back, and when needed, you're going to see him play at left wing back. So give me your comments on Palmieri, please. I've seen that one, Mandy. The next move is Soufal replacement. That will happen, probably not, and that might well be Harrison Ashby moving forward. Stu, that pint will be warm by the time we finish it. No, it won't. Let's scroll down. Scarborough. Emerson, a very solid squad player and allows us to play a fluid wing-back system. Very good engine. Absolutely. £15 for a translator. They're expensive these days, aren't they? Learn to dig. Aidan, I don't know, Scarborough. I just think he's protecting his ego. Spurs are getting found out as being topping, but be nice to him. It's late. Be nice. How was your steak dinner, Graham? My steak dinner. How do you know I had steak dinner, or are you asking someone else? Because I actually did have a steak dinner tonight. Anyway, Alfie, Emerson was a player I was excited when we signed. Got a feeling Moyes won't trust him in as left back, only left wing back. Oh, interesting. Think we may only last the season or two. Hopefully not, though. Hammer it. Still, you speak so much about Arthur these days. I miss him. No, I don't. Budgie, Clive, I can't see anything from Claude in the calm people. Have you got rid of him, bastards? Graham, Arthur, a turkey in Turkey. How harsh, Graham. I'll never say a bad word about Arthur. Trini, Emerson will have to score a winning worldly against a rival for any comparison. Long live the king. Yeah. I wonder. I bet you Emerson scores against Chelsea on Saturday from outside the box. What about that? Darren, I'll show you something that I've got to send. Now, people know I love Arthur so much. People know it. So one of my mates, Hammerit, you know him, Dan Love. He sent me one of the, just out of the blue one day. This came in the post. I thought, what the fuck's that? I haven't ordered anything from West Ham United. Look at that. King Arthur. It's a fridge magnet that I've got there. Yeah, there you go. I'm a King Arthur fan. You got me all wrong. Anyway, Stella, there you go. I do have a picture of him, but not above my head. Learn to dig. He has to be a more consistent alternative. I think he will be. Frano. The only thing that is in this last year or two we need replacement for him. Otherwise, Emerson is... The only thing is that in year or two, we need replacement for him. Otherwise, Emerson is good for us, makes better attacking options than Cressy as he lacks vision. Cresswell's still good when he swings that ball in, when he plays central defensive, when he plays three at the back, and he can take the ball to past the halfway line, swing it in. He's still got his uses. John, Emerson faster than Cresswell and 2 inches taller. What's not to like? I don't think he's about the same height. I could be wrong, though. Hammer it. Stell's puppy eyes when he talks about King Arthur. Beats. Hasn't Emerson been on loan constantly? Maybe a settling in at the club will bring out the best in him. Good shout. He was out on loan at Lyon last season. Yeah, good shout. Astrophos. Many lads seem to not be happy we got Emerson, but I think I have to say this, coming to us is a step up for him. From option number 4 to first to second is a huge confidence booster, and I'm expecting a lot. Good shout. That's a really good shout. The reason why he was always out on loan, as Beats just said, is because he was never number 1 at Chelsea. And now he's got that opportunity. That's a really good shout, Astrophos. Yeah, I like that. James, King Arthur would have been the cherry on the top. Which cherry? The sour cherry. Hammerit, Stella always drinks slow when it's his round. Bloody nerve. That's the last time I'm buying you a drink. Mind you, I'm not sure I actually ever have. Have I? I'm sure I have. Frano, Vlasic just needs game time, Mandy, but we didn't give him time, unfortunately. Get on to Vlasic later. Still, you told us she left you steak. Too much white meat beer, I think. Oh, did I say that? I must have done. I don't remember what I said 2 minutes ago. If I haven't got it written down, I've forgotten it already. Alzheimer's, that's dementia for you. Adam, Palmieri is an upgrade on Cresswell in defence and going forward, but take time to settle in. I'm on the Uri Gellers. Stand by. Good evening to you. Oh, Stanley, good evening to you. King Arthur will always be in our hearts. He sure will. Let's hope not on the pitch for us. Neil, I'm prepared to give. I'm laughing at my own jokes. I'm prepared to give Emerson time to fit in before I judge him, but he's part of our French connection, which could well be a bonus. Yeah, good shout. That good shout. Nightmares. Trini, Emerson may secretly have a point to prove given starts, something he has not had. Absolutely. Scott, I think Emerson is going to impress us a lot. He has the skill. Clive, don't get things twisted, guys and girls. Stella is the creator of the King Arthur Round Table Appreciation Society. Hammer, no, I haven't. Oh, well, well, then I'll, where were you? Where, are you going to Chelsea tomorrow? Message me if you're going to Chelsea tomorrow. Darren, Stell still suffers with short arms and long pocket syndrome when it's his round. Bloody nerve. Right, let's move on from the Stell slagging, shall we? And move on to the next player. Who's our next one? We have got this young man. Now, this is a bit of a surprise for me, to be quite honest with you. The surprise is he hasn't started a Premier League game yet, and I'm not quite sure why he hasn't. And given the fact that that Bowen has not been, totally on fire so far this season, I thought we might see Cornet at least get 10, 15, 20 minutes near the end, but nothing yet in the Premier League, which is a massive surprise. So, we all know about him. He played last season, scoring 9 goals for a struggling Burnley team. He can play at left back, left wing, right wing. He can cover for Bowen. He can play as a striker. I still can't spell. I always check these bloody slides and I think, yeah, all right. And then when I look at them, I see all these spelling mistakes. Versatile footballer, Ivory Coast international. I think we were quite happy when we got him, weren't we? I think a lot of us thought, yeah, that's not a bad signing. That's a pretty decent, solid signing by Moyes. Who are we going to compare him to? Well, it's got to be Nicola, hasn't it? It's got to be. I know. Paqueta's got the number 11 shirt, but it's not fair to compare Paqueta with him. I'm going to compare him to someone else in a minute. Vlasic. Now, just like Arthur, he's had 4 appearances in Serie A, scored 2 goals already. And apparently the goal he scored the other day was an absolute corker. Look, do I want Vlasic to do well? Yes, I do. I do want Vlasic to do well and come back and try and claim his place in this team. So when you send out players on loan, you've got to wish them well, because there's always a chance that they're going to come back and they're going to want to smash it. My feeling is, my gut tells me that if he's doing really well by January, we might do a deal with Torino, and he might go there permanently from January. But I guess we'll see. But when you look at him compared to Cornet, the reason why I think Cornet is a better signing is because he's had a year in the Premier League. It was his first year last season in the Premier League, as it was Vlasic. I know he played for Everton before, but Vlasic and Cornet, both their first years in the Premier League, and Cornet smashed it. 9 goals for a struggling team. Imagine if Vlasic was in the Burnley team. Do you think Vlasic would have got the same number of goals as Cornet did? I'm not so sure that he would have done. So for me, Cornet is an improvement on Vlasic, without a doubt. And I'm expecting, but the reason why I'm surprised is Moyes has yet to start him. I don't quite get that. I don't quite get why Moyes hasn't given this young lad at least 20 minutes or 15 minutes here and there, or even a cameo role that he loves, the last 5 minutes of the game. I'm not quite sure I understand that. But anyway, so for me, that's an improvement. But let's see what you guys say. Scott, Cornet fits Moyes' MOT, can play many positions, good skills, just needs time. Hammer it. Cornet isn't trusted yet. Will take time for Moyes to use him. Just hope it's not an injury that forces him on the pitch. But that's weird, isn't it, Hammerette? I get what you're saying, but isn't that a bit odd that he needs to win Moyes' trust? He's proven Premier League footballer. He's done it for a whole season. Frano, Cornet looks like a floater to me. May well play anything for Moyes. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll fit in for Bowen when Bowen needs a rest, or maybe if Bowen is moved up front, I think he can play just off the striker. He can even play as a striker if need be. And of course, he can play on the left side of midfield as well. So he will float. Yeah, without a doubt. But that's even more surprising. The fact that he will float and he still hasn't come on the pitch for a Premier League game. Scarborough. Moyes relies on Bowen's work rate. Really trust him. Cornet will play in time in the right games. Yeah, good shout. Stu. Give Cornet a flake and he'll be fine. Darren, am I the only one not impressed with Cornet? I like Cornet. I actually do. It wouldn't have been the one that it's interesting because I remember last season when we were going through last season, and we were talking about old players coming in, etc. And I remember a viewer saying to me, "You should look at Cornet," and I went, "Oh, Cornet? Why would I look at him playing for a pretty awful team, etc." And I thought, "Hang on a minute, okay." And I started watching him at the tail end of last season. I thought, "Yeah, he was decent." And then I saw him play against us, and he missed that penalty. And I thought, "Okay." But all in all, I think many will argue that he looked quite impressive for a struggling team. And so that's why I'm surprised that he hasn't yet come on the pitch during Premier League games. Paul, Cornet, great signing, 99 out of 100. Learn to dig. Cornet was too much in a hurry versus Viborg. Bad decision making too. Sit down and watch for a while. Good points, but he's really gelled well with Scamacca. Didn't he create 2 of Scamacca's goals in against Viborg? And I know Viborg are not a top class team and all that sort of stuff, but nonetheless, they connected well. Drawing. Do you think it's about Cornet's final delivery? I like and would play him. Well, yeah, maybe. But then I've just mentioned he's created 2 goals for Scamacca in the Europa Conference. Cornet, good player, but can play many positions and is quick, will fit in and only will get better. Graham, Stell, you left, and I know. All right. I need spell check. Bloody slides don't have spell check on them. Beats. When we never got Kostic, I wondered if Cornet was signed in his place to play that wing back role. I think undoubtedly. We know Moyes wanted Kostic without a doubt, and then he looked at the next person on the list, and Cornet was the one. If we'd have bought Kostic, no, there's no way we'd have bought Cornet in. I agree with that. Learn to digs. I expect more composure from Cornet. I think it will come. Howard, it was Longello that went to Birmingham on loan. Yes, it was. Longello. Do you know what I'm going to try and do? Bear with me. If you can bear with me 1 second. Do I know where it is? Have I still got it here? Let's have a look. Away teams. No. Transfers. No, it's not there. I did it a few. No, it's not there. It's a shame. I was trying to see if I've got the list of the academy squad players, and I would have loaded that up to show you. But yes, Longello has gone to Birmingham City. What else have we got here? Darren, just don't put him on penalties. Good point. Epic. Dyche wouldn't have played Vlasic as a winger. And that's a good shout. But do you still think, even if he played him up front, do you still think Vlasic would have done as well as Cornet did? But Cornet played up front last season for Burnley, or mostly up front. Astrofos. Cornet is the type of player you get 8 out of 10 as an average performance, I think. Yeah, interesting. The kid. Cornet didn't have a proper pre-season, I hear. Okay, that's probably why it's taking time, and that would make sense. Yeah, fair play. Trini, Kostic may have been first choice, but he's 30 this year. Yeah, true. Cornet's being at 25, adds for longer. Yeah, really good point. Conan, hi, Stel. What's Cornet's best position? If he's wasted, is he wasted at left wing back? Look, he's played at left wing back, left midfield, and I think that's primarily his better position. When he was at Lyon, he was once used in a game as a left back, and he did so well that he stayed there. I think for a whole season thereafter, and he can play up front as well. So I think it's left side. I think that's probably his best position. But also, he's done just as much damage when he's played at right wing back in Bowen's position as he did on the left side as well. When I talked about him throughout the summer transfer window, I was putting up his stats, and I found some details about when he the number of times he played at right wing back and the number of times he played at left wing back, and the stats were quite comparable. So he can do it on both sides of the pitch. But yeah, I think maybe left wing back is probably the best. Graham, this better squad could be a huge problem for Moyes, as he hates to rotate, but he must learn how to use all of his players. Absolutely true. Pat, good night to you, mate. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good night. Scott, I see him playing right wing or left wing more than there's a left back or a right back. Yeah, agreed. What else we got? Grassham. Maxi has been a bit of a Raheem Sterling vibe for me. His part in Benny's goal in Denmark. Yeah, good point. He can provide. James, given time, Cornet will become the creme de la ice cream. Scott, Viborg will challenge for the top of the championship. Very impressed as where they're fans. Yeah, we're all Viborg fans now. The kid, I promise you the fans will absolutely love Cornet, and I agree with you. Trini, inverted wingers can be effective, but you need to balance it with crosses from left and right. Yeah, good point. Good point. Let's move on to the next player then. We've done Vlasic, of course. Now I need a drink for this one. Lucas Paqueta. I mean, honestly, people. I mean, honestly, if you were in the stadium on Wednesday night and I started to jump up and down like a fucking kid when I saw him take his training top off and showed the number 11. I went, he's coming on. Paqueta's coming on. I can't believe it. I'm a 60-year-old man. And I got excited at the very thought of this young man coming on the pitch to play football. I couldn't believe it. And he perked. I mean, the whole crowd, the whole stadium just went whoosh. It was incredible. I can't remember the last time a footballer that we bought has given us that kind of immediate like hit. It was weird. It was weird, but it was good and it was funny and it was like what we could. And then he came on and he started like, he's a confident bastard. I tell you something, he's a confident young man. And he's going to be absolutely fucking immense for us. You know, the problem is going to be is us holding on to him. That's the problem that's going to be. You know, the minute he smashes it in the Premier League, we're going to have the Liverpools and the Man U's and the Chelseas and all that knocking on our door, demanding that we sell him to, sell the player to them. He's got, I hope I'm not wrong, but I think this young man is going to be immense, absolutely immense. Look, operates from all areas, from the right side of midfield, best of a midfield three. I did ask when we signed him, is David Moyes actually going to change the formation to accommodate him? Versatile midfielder, number 8, number 10, false number 9, creative, well-rounded, good positional awareness, fantastic ball dribbler. He averaged pass attempts last season, 1,500 pass attempts, success rate 80%. Shot accuracy rate 51%, 57%, etc., etc., etc. The man is immense, you know, and I think he's going to be the dog's bollocks signing for us. I've said 50 mil. It's 38 million plus add-ons. Who do we compare him against? Unfortunately, compare him against Said Benrahma. And I didn't want to do this. And I was thinking there's got to be someone else that we can compare him against. And I said right at the start of the show, you know, who's going to be the success and who's going to sort of lose out in this? And for me, unfortunately, Said Benrahma could be the player more often than not that could suffer from the arrival of Lucas Paqueta, I'm afraid. You know, if you think of it logically, Bowen is never going to be dropped unless his form really just falls through falls flat completely. You know, you can never really see Bone drop. You might see him getting subbed every now and again, but he'll never be dropped from the starting lineup. Fornals is the workhorse for David Moyes. You know, so you can't see him being dropped. He might be rotated on occasion, but you can't see him being dropped. Unfortunately, in terms of being dropped, you know, and I say it with a heavy heart because he's been our best player this season. He started off fantastically well last season, fell off a bit. But then you tell me a player that didn't fall off a bit from last season. And he started off fantastically well this season already. 7 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist, which is good return for Benny so far. But unfortunately, I think the Paqueta arrival is going to be to the detriment of Said Benrahma. So I'm finding this difficult now to suggest that Paqueta is going to be a better signing because I really like Benrahma. It's going to be interesting to see how they both fare. I'm worried for Benny. I'd love to see Benny in the same starting lineup. And then maybe the odd occasion that Moyes might have a bit of a sort of a rush to the head of blood, and he may play them once in a while. But it's more likely that they'll be that if they're on the pitch at the same time, it's more likely that they'll be on the pitch during the game rather than starting it. I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope he proves me wrong tomorrow. I hope tomorrow we've got Bowen, Paqueta, and Benrahma sitting just behind Antonio. I hope. I would absolutely love that to happen, but you're not going to drop Fornals. You could potentially drop Fornals deeper to play alongside Declan, but then Souček's on form at the moment. He's looking back to his old self again. So, unfortunately, tell me if I'm wrong, people, because I just think the Paqueta signing could be to the detriment, unfortunately, of poor old Benny. So you tell me what you think. So let's scroll down and see what you guys say. So let's pick up some comments there. Gonna go to the right. There we go. Scott. Paqueta will be the West Ham United legend, just utter class. Absolutely. Scarborough, our best signing in years, and will change the dynamic of how we play. Hammerette, Paqueta is ace. Absolutely. Darren, now you're talking about a football player. You all love him already, don't you? The kid, you're not 60. I wish I was, mate. Howard, like to do... Bastard. Paqueta, where do I start? What a player. Cannot believe we have signed the next Kaká. Absolutely. James, Paqueta, I think I'm turning. Stu, Payet was the last player I put on a shirt. I think Paqueta is going to be the next one. Better do it before the big boys come in for him. I've already mentioned that. Astrophos, Paqueta might be the number 10 for Brazil's national team. Can you believe we got him? No, I can't. Honestly, I still try to realize that this is true. Hammerette, I've not heard of Paqueta man ever take a penalty in his career. I've not heard of a Pac-Man ever take a penalty in his career. Clive, I was there Wednesday, and yes, still, Paqueta is going to be whufc for us. He's the first choice Brazilian number 10. Number 10. Paul, awesome. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Irene. I am going to mention something else somewhere later on. I'm sure you are. Graham, I heard the crowd roar when Paqueta came on, and I live 5,000 miles from East London. Scott, no one loses out. The quality of the whole squad has improved, so all the players' levels go up. I like that. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like that approach. Epic. Lanzini won't even make the bench this season unless someone gets injured. Lanzini will be another one. Yeah, to be quite honest with you, he'll suffer. Irene again. I'm a very big West Ham supporter, so come on, you Hammers. Thank you very much, Irene. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Happy Hammer. Sorry, Hammerette. Sorry, I was in a mental atmosphere. It was a mental atmosphere when he was coming on. Absolutely loved it. He must have felt amazing. Can you imagine being adored before you've even kicked an effing ball? You know, Trini, not even Moyes would be stupid enough to stick him out wide. He's an ace number 10. I totally agree. And I'm not suggesting for a minute that he will go out wide, because he'll get Fornals to play out wide. He'll get Paqueta to play in just behind the player, the striker. And that is when, Benny at the moment, they switching in either in the centre or out on the left. And then Fornals goes out on the left and Benny drops in. And I think Fornals will stay out on the left and Paqueta will be the number 10. Darren, Bowen could walk into Moyes' office tomorrow morning, pull down his pants and take a massive dookie on Moyes' desk and still not be dropped. Grassham. Paqueta, that's skillful and tough tackling and hard working. He could be the catalyst to the top level for us. I mean, he ran back. He tracked back. He was getting stuck in. At one point, I thought the bloke was going to get fucking sent off. I really did. I thought, I don't know what you got. Whoever was at the game, did he elbow that player? Mind you, VAR would have looked at it, wouldn't they? Mandy, why play Fornals when we have two holding midfielders? Because David Moyes loves Fornals, and I love Fornals. But if you're looking at those players like that I've mentioned, Lanzini, Benrahma, etc., it's going to be Benrahma. Lanzini, I think, I can't remember who said it now, but Lanzini, you're right. It's going to take quite a while for Lanzini to even get on the bench for Premier League games. But in terms of current status, I think Benrahma is the one that's going to suffer. Conan, can we protect our squad by slapping a ludicrous release clause on Paqueta? 150 mil may have kept the Sharks quiet from circling Declan this time round. Good point. Good point. Scott, here's a possibility. We have an immense season and finish top 4. Will these players want to leave? Of course they bloody well won't. Of course they won't. Why would they? I agree. They wouldn't. Even Declan will say, I'm staying. The kid. Let's play Man City with Benny, Pax and Cornet and smash them 6-0. Trini, I think Paqueta won't start. Moyes will have Fornals and Benny. He is safety first. Yeah. No. I don't think he'll start. He may not start tomorrow against Chelsea. It's not tomorrow. It's today against Chelsea. He may not start against Chelsea, but I think thereafter, I think he'll be a regular starter. And I think that might be to the detriment of Benrahma, to be quite honest with you. Let's scroll down. Clive. Paqueta is more of a threat to Lanzini and Fornals, in my opinion. I think he's more of a threat to Lanzini. I don't think he's a threat to Fornals. I really don't. I think Moyes, we talk about Moyes' favourites, and Bowen and Fornals are definite favourites of David Moyes. Scott, all that said, Benny has easily been our best player this season. 100%. 100% he has. Let's scroll down. James. Oh, you wind up Merchant Hammerette. What did Hammerette say? Sad but true. And what did Epic say? Sad but true. I can't see it. So it must be sad if Hammerette thinks so. Right. Okay, people. Let's move on to the next part. The next player, shall we? What we got left? We've done him. Right. This is an odd one because we've now talked about all the players that we've signed, but we've now got to talk about a couple of players who have come into this squad who look like they're going to be part of the first team. And the first player, of course, we've spoken about him briefly already, is Connor Coventry. Look, he's in his last year of his contract at the moment, 22 years of age. He's had a very decent loan spell at MK Dons last season. He's been on the brink of the senior team football for quite a few years. 3 appearances so far this season, 1 in the Premier League and 2 in Europa. 1 start, which was in the conference. I like the guy. I have done for the past 2 or 3 seasons. Always kept saying, I think, he's going to be a player to break through. This could be his year. Now, look, okay, had we signed Onana or another central defensive midfielder, then yes, fair play. Coventry probably wouldn't be in the squad right now. But now he's got this opportunity. He needs to make the most of it. And of course, who am I going to compare him against? Alex Kral. Alex Kral is still contracted to Spartak Moscow, but immediately after he left West Ham United, he got a transfer, a 1-year loan deal to Schalke for the season. He's made 5 starts. 5 starts for Schalke already this season. Okay, no goals, no assists, but he's a defensive midfielder already. Now, is Connor Coventry an improvement to Alex Kral? That's a tough one. Because we never saw Alex Kral play. I've got to say probably not. For the reasons being is Kral is also he's a Czech international footballer as well. He's already started for Schalke. He's already played 5 games for them, 5 starts, 5 appearances. So, no, I think maybe Coventry has got some work to do to prove to us that he's capable, etc. But when it comes to, he's not a signing, but he's a player that's returned. So that's the first one. The next one is Harrison Ashby. Well, we knew what was happening on the last day of the transfer window. Apparently he was going to move. It didn't happen. He's still a West Ham player. And then he put a tweet out with HA50, to say, he's still a West Ham footballer. He's a young lad. He's been with us since the age of 10. He's been with West Ham United from that age. He's class. He's going to be a classy footballer without a shadow of a doubt. And who am I comparing him against? It had to be Ryan Fredericks, didn't it? And to be quite honest with you, Fredericks I liked. But Fredericks just couldn't stay fit. That was the sad thing about it. And I just think that when Fredericks played, he did well. It wasn't 23 assists, by the way, last year. Oh, no, that's his career assists. Sorry. Fredericks, when he played well, he played really well, and you could see how much of a decent footballer he was. But I think Harrison Ashby is going to go one better than him. I think he's going to become a regular player in West Ham's first team. It may not happen this season, but Soufal 30 years of age, last year of his contract, I believe. Harrison Ashby is the ready-made replacement there to compete for that right wing back spot with Ben Johnson. So I think, the fact that we've managed to keep him, I think is massive for us. And then, of course, the last one is Craig Dawson. He's still with us, people, even though Dawson was rumored to be leaving because of family reasons, etc. And when I did the transfer show yesterday, I talked about Ashby and I talked about Dawson, and I was convinced at the time that I did the show, something like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I was told Ashby is definitely going to Newcastle. It's virtually a done deal. Then it didn't happen. I think Moyes put a block on that because we couldn't get a replacement for him. As same thing that he did for Craig Dawson. Moyes said, to Ashby, you're not going unless I get a replacement. I'd rather you stay. Hopefully now with Ashby, we can negotiate something with him and keep him at the club an awful lot longer. He's in his last year of his contract. With Craig Dawson, Moyes has made some moves on that as well. He's offered Dawson incentives to stay at least till January. He's told the player, you can spend more time with your family. I'll give you more time off, etc., etc. If you stay till January, where I might be able to get a replacement, or even wait until all our senior central defenders are back fit and ready, then, of course, we've got 5 players, haven't we, there in the central defensive position, and then it might be a lot easier to let him go. And if we do, Moyes said he'll give him the incentive to go on a free. He'll allow him to go on a free transfer in January. And I think it's a big bonus at the fact that we've managed to keep him. Let's finish off with the last comments. Excuse me. Cheers. Was that really the same person? Oh, dear. He wants to be here. Leave him. Let him come in. Neil, Fornals won't suffer as he really has an eye for a good pass. Could really work well with Paqueta. Yeah, good shout, Neil. Absolutely. Scott, Areola, Emerson, Zuma, Kehrer, Zufal, Rice, Soucek, Paqueta, Fornals, Bowen, Scamacca. That could be the lineup tomorrow. Well, unless Fabianski's unfit, Fabianski will start, unfortunately. Creswell, yeah, possibly, because Emerson, yeah, possibly, because Creswell, I believe, has picked up a knock. Zuma and Kehrer, yeah. Zufal, yeah. Rice, Soucek, yeah. Paqueta, let's see. Fornals and Bowen, yeah. Scamacca, maybe because he's been ill all week, he may not start, Scamacca. But otherwise, yeah, not bad. That is it. What else have we got? Trini. Anyone taking Fornals' place will have to be a versatile and a workhorse. Don't see it happening. I agree. Absolutely. That's why I said he's more of a threat, Paqueta, to Benrahma than he is to Fornals. Scott, I thought he looked great in pre-season, but quite poor in other games. Viborg made him look like a teenager. Who was that, mate? Who were you mentioning there? Was that Ashby, maybe? Hammerit, I'm glad we never let Ashby go. Trini, Kral is only 2 years older than Commentary, but in my opinion, further ahead of his development than Commentary. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Scott, honestly don't see as much in Ashby as many other West Ham fans do. I think going on loan was perfect. If he lights up the Championship, he can challenge there. But he hasn't gone on loan. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's staying. He's staying at West Ham. So he's going to fight for his first team place. Hammerit, Fredericks, he's currently injured. I know most of us won't believe, most of you won't believe. I did read about that. I thought, oh, the irony. Trini, according to Dex, Fredericks is also missed in the dressing room. Yeah, apparently he was a big character in the dressing room. Howard, I agree, Trini. I believe Commentary will become a much better player than Kral. I think in time he could well do. Oh, sorry, Trini. I got that the wrong way around. I thought you meant that you thought Kral was further ahead. Sorry, misunderstood you. Scott, Ballon Dawson, what a legend. He'll be off after the World Cup. He's been proven everyone wrong, hasn't he? James, I love the Ballon is still with us, especially after what happened early December last year. Yeah, I mean, he came in and, but when we got the injuries, and he was immense. Christophe, Dirganis, Gala. I can't even speak Greek anymore. Is keeping Ashby at the club kicking the inevitable can down the road with him defo going, or do you think we can convince him to stay? Will we need to give him game time to convince him? This is the thing. I don't really know. I haven't got to the bottom of why the player wanted to leave. whether it was about a contract disagreement or whether it was about game time. All I know is I know for a fact he's been offered a new contract. I still haven't been able to find out what that contract is and what the value is, etc. But got to be careful with these young players because, as I said, I think in the transfer show on Wednesday, these young players have got these agents now, and these agents are going in their ear going, I think you're worth this, and I think you should be paid this, etc., etc. Why? Because the more the player's worth, or gets paid, etc., the more the agent gets. So I wonder sometimes if the agents have got the player's best interest at heart. Look, apparently Newcastle were very close to signing him. It's good. It was Moyes pulled the plug on it, said it wasn't going to happen because he can get a replacement at the last minute. I think it is down to David Moyes to prove to him that he's definitely part of the future at West Ham United. I think the offers on the table for the contract, whatever that may be, that might need a bit of tweaking. Then that's the agent's job to do. Not trying to convince his client to go elsewhere. Try and convince him, look, for your future, the best thing to do is to stay at West Ham United. Let's negotiate the contract, make it worthwhile for you, etc. And then it's a matter of fighting for his place. And I think, as other people have said, he's got every opportunity to demonstrate that he's capable with all the games that are coming up, especially cup games, etc., etc. Grassam, Connor looks neat and tidy, though unspectacular. Perhaps training with Paqueta would inspire him to a higher level. Scott, fans have been better lately, but still not as good as Fabs has been better lately, but still not as good as Areola. Anyone ask who played keeper? It is obvious. Yeah, I like Areola much more. Thank you, Graham. Much appreciated, mate. Clive, back with another link. Still, I really want to hear you say West Ham are fucking massive. West Ham are fucking massive. I can do it because it's 12:30 at night. Scott, I thought Ashby went on. No, he didn't. No, we managed to keep him. Hammerette, so glad I made his show tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining in, everyone. The kid, look what happened to Salah. Many agents are scum. Absolutely. Hammerette, I'm not going anywhere, Scott. Just showing my appreciation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And that's it. We're done. Now, I've got a little formula here now, haven't I? Because I've got to find a way of saying to you guys, only comment on this. So when I'm catching up on the comments, at least I'm not half an hour behind. I quite like that. Going to be a lot more difficult on Monday night for the West Ham Weekly, but I'll try that as well. People, thank you very much. Let me just recap very, very quickly. These are the players that left. David Martin, not really part of the first team, but although he was named. Fredericks, Diop, Alese, and Masuaku. So we needed 4 players at the back. We needed 2 central midfielders, and we needed 2 attacking players. This is the squad we have now. Look at that. Look at that. Fabianski, Areola, Darren Randolph, goalies. Right backs, we got Johnson, Soufal, and Harrison Ashby. Left backs, we've got Creswell and Emerson. Centre backs, we've got Zuma, Dawson, Ogbonna, Aged when he comes back, and Kehrer. Central midfield, we've got Downs, Socek, Declan, and Coventry. Attacking midfield, we've got Fornals, Lanzini, Cornet, Bowen, Benrahma, and Paqueta. And then up front, Scamacca and Antonio. What a lineup. What a squad. That is a pretty decent squad, to be quite honest with you. Very, very decent indeed. People, I really appreciate all your comments, all the chat, etc. Let's do just a few more. Mate, Friday night. Mate, honestly, excuse me. I'll tell you what I'll do. When it gets to proper winter and people can't be asked to go out, etc., I'll make this more of a regular show. Once every 2 weeks, maybe at the very least. Okay. I'll try and promise that. I'll try and keep to that. There'll be some Fridays where the miss is going to go. We're going out. You're not going online. And I won't have any choice. Hammerette, can we just take a moment to smile at the fact that Liverpool has scored 9 goals in one game? Liverpool scored 9 goals in one game. Salah didn't get Stu. You can't smile with Salah when Salah was captain in your foul team. No, weak. Hammerette, can we all like the stream? Yeah, thank you. Please do hit the like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. Lee, thanks, Del. Much appreciated. We're massive. London's Clayton Brew. If you think the last 2 seasons were good, prepare yourselves. Absolutely. All right, people. Come on, West Ham United. Let's fucking smash Chelsea tomorrow. Let's do a win. I think we owe them one. Let's not forget last season, they grabbed the last minute goal against us at their ground. But mind you, Arthur smashed them when he scored that real amazing, definitely deliberate goal when we beat them at home. Let's beat them tomorrow. I think we can do it. I think they're in slight disarray. We're now just picking up as well. So I think we can beat them tomorrow. See you all very soon. I might do a show, a review, but they're not working well. My previews and reviews are not getting many views. So I don't know if I'm going to carry on doing those. But certainly I'll cover the game on Monday night in the West Ham Weekly. Join me for that. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend and an even better one when we win. And I'll see you all soon.